How many alternate timelines do you destroy the world? Because, frankly, you don't have the cojones to die yourself.
Where are we holding up? Somewhere I'll never suspect.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my Justice League Snyder Cut ending video for all the different end credit scenes. It's basically a giant epilogue that's very different from the theatrical cut that's setting up a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, so if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will be doing more full breakdown videos. The movie's over 4 hours long, so there is a lot of brand new stuff to talk about. But careful for spoilers if you have not seen the movie yet, if you haven't seen the Snyder Cut. But just starting at the end of the movie, the three mother boxes unite to form the Unity, setting off this chain reaction that's going to terraform the planet into another version of Apocalypse that you see in the Nightmare flash-forwards. There are a couple different Nightmare flash-forwards that I'll talk about during this too, that they reference. The Flash is able to use the Speed Force to time travel to prevent it from happening in a sort of rewind scene, where you do see it unfold like it actually happens, but then as the Flash starts running into super speed into the Speed Force, everything rewinds. You see everyone's body parts flying back onto their bodies, including Superman's. Then the Justice League and Superman defeat Steppenwolf. Aquaman runs him through with his mother's trident. Superman punches him through the boom tube that's now open, with Darkseid, Desaad, and Granny Goodness watching all this unfold, watching Steppenwolf get killed. Wonder Woman chops his head off with her sword as his body's flying through the boom tube, and Darkseid stops his head with his boot, then crushes it. Then they have this classic gunslinger standoff moment with Darkseid staring down the Justice League and Black Suit Superman. But after the boom tube closes, you switch to Darkseid's perspective on Apocalypse. Desaad asks him what his plan is now that the three mother boxes have been destroyed. The great prize that he's referring to is the anti-life equation that they reference several times during the movie, which is on Earth they find. That's what the giant symbol is when they crack the ground in the Darkseid War flashback, and when Steppenwolf is given the vision by the mother boxes. I've seen it with my own eyes, carved into the very face of this planet. Darkseid says he's going to use it to take control of the entire multiverse, so they also set up the concept of the multiverse during the Justice League Snyder Cut. We'll see the multiverse during the Flash movie, but it's a very different version of the Flash movie than they were originally planning on making when they shot this scene with Darkseid and Desaad. Darkseid says they'll obtain the anti-life equation at any cost, and they'll go and do things the old way. The old ways that he's referring to is a callback to the flashback scene earlier in the movie, thousands of years ago, when he tried to take Earth and lost to the combined forces of the humans, the Amazons, the Old Gods, the Atlanteans, and the Green Lantern Corps. He got his ass beat by the Old Gods. Bad. Zeus and Ares mostly. Ares almost took his entire arm off. During that flashback, Wonder Woman explains that Darkseid used to fly around planet to planet one at a time with his armada, conquering them with the mother boxes. But in present day, the new ways is basically just the quieter, stealthier way. Darkseid sending Steppenwolf to do most of the busy work of conquering the universe for him, looking for the anti-life equation, and covering his debt for trying to usurp the throne of Apocalypse for him. That was the history that they were referring to. They didn't explicitly state what he did to betray Darkseid, but you kind of get what was going on. Like, oh, he tried to steal the throne of Apocalypse from Darkseid at one point in the past. Still had 50,000 worlds to conquer on his sentence. But remember, these beings are so powerful, they're functionally immortal, so unless you kill them like they do during the movie, they'll just keep on living forever, pretty much. There is a New Gods movie that they're going to be making that Darkseid will be featured during, but it's Ava DuVernay and Tom King basing it on Tom King's Mr. Miracle run, so it'll be a very different looking version of all these characters than you saw during Zack Snyder's Justice League. So Darkseid is headed to Earth with his giant fleet for the sequels, Justice League 2, and then they have a bunch of alternate versions of those ending scenes and post-credit scenes with all the different Justice League characters that were meant to actually set up their sequels and solo movies that were coming right after this, because like 99% of this footage and all of these ending scenes and post-credit scenes was shot by Zack Snyder way back in 2016 and 2017 before he left the project. The official title of the epilogue is A Father Twice Over, which is a reference to Cyborg's father calling himself his father twice over, because he was born to him and his mother as a child the old-fashioned way, but then he ushered his rebirth, his second birth, as the cyborg with the mother box. And we did get a full version of that origin story during the movie. You actually see Cyborg explain how his father used the mother box to repair his body. You get a whole bunch of footage. Cyborg probably had the biggest story upgrade of any of the characters next to like Steppenwolf and Darkseid during the Snyder Cut. I'll talk more about him during my full breakdown video for the movie, but it's his father's voiceover in the tape recording that he repairs that replaces the entire Lois Lane speech at the end of the theatrical cut over all these scenes. Ryan Choi becomes the new head of Star Labs. I'm sure he would have probably come back during the Flash movie as part of the Star Labs storyline they originally intended on making at that point, and then the Cyborg solo movie to become a version of the Atom from the comics, because they say he works in nanotechnology. That was just a reference to him eventually becoming the Atom. Then you get the Aquaman scene with him saying goodbye to Vulko and Mira, and he goes to see his father. Obviously, they were getting ready to make the Aquaman solo movie at this point. He has this really long look with Mira, setting up their eventual romance and relationship that they paid off during the actual Aquaman movie that we saw. Vulko also had a big upgrade during the Snyder Cut. There were a ton more Atlantis scenes with those characters. Obviously, they also changed a lot of the looks and the designs for the characters when they got to some of these solo movies. They have a similar version of the Batman Wonder Woman scene at Wayne Manor where he talks about turning it into the Hall of Justice. That's actually what you see the rubble of in the Nightmare scene with Superman flying over it holding Batman's cowl. This one was from Cyborg's vision from the Mother Boxes. The Mother Boxes show him a vision of a possible future when he interfaces with it while they're resurrecting Superman. I'll get into this in a second though. They have this whole concept of multiple timelines that the Joker references in one of the post-credit scenes, but this is the timeline where Superman winds up killing most of the Justice League for Darkseid. But it was just a possible future. The actual Nightmare post-credit scene plays out a little bit differently. The scene of Batman telling Superman about buying the bank that owned the Kent farm is pretty much the same. Then you see a new scene of Batman in Gotham City in his costume on top of the Bat tank. It looks like a very Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns inspired Batman tank. Very cool looking and probably something that would have showed up during the version of the Batman movie he was doing. We also get a brand new scene of Cyborg visiting his father's grave, then taking off, taking his spot amongst the brave ones, like taking his spot on the Justice League, so to speak, as they were implying in the sequels. And then the new scene of Wonder Woman looking out over the cliff of that Amazonian temple from earlier in the movie with the warning arrow. That's all supposed to set up her sequel storyline that Zack Snyder and Jim Lee outlined in their pitch document. Remember earlier in the movie how Steppenwolf taunted her, saying she'd abandoned her sisters on Themyscira. You weren't there to protect them. This scene was supposed to set up the idea that she finds a way back to Themyscira during the sequels and eventually was supposed to replace Hippolyta as Queen of the Amazons in Justice League 2 and Justice League 3. Superman's scene here taking off is pretty much the same with one minor change. He's still wearing the black suit, and obviously the voiceover is from Cyborg's father and not Lois Lane. But he would have eventually gone on to a direct sequel to the first Man of Steel movie. Zack Snyder was also teasing that Lois Lane might be pregnant earlier in the movie. He doesn't outline the major plotline of what Man of Steel 2 would have been or anything like that, but clearly they were hyping up the idea of baby John Kent from the comics. Also, the baby itself would have played into the idea of Darkseid breaking Superman in Justice League 2 when he kills Lois Lane in that nightmare vision of cyborgs. But then the Lex Luthor post-credit scene is totally different. You see a much longer version of his breakout from Arkham Asylum with the help of Deathstroke. This is all meant to set up Ben Affleck's version of the Batman movie because he tells Deathstroke Batman's secret identity as Bruce Wayne. Why are you doing this for free? Because it's personal. Oh, an eye for an eye, I see. So it's meant to set up this history that Deathstroke has with Batman, and he was going to be the main villain of Ben Affleck's Batman movie. It would have been a Riddler Hush type of scenario where you have a Batman villain that learns his secret identity, then just systematically goes around trying to destroy his life. Per Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 story pitch, Lex Luthor would have gone on to make a deal with Darkseid, forming his own Injustice League with a bunch of the villains from the solo movies. The members of his Injustice League would have been the Riddler and Deathstroke, so the Riddler would have also been a big character during Ben Affleck's Batman movie. Funny that he's also a big character during Matt Reeves' Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Then Dr. Poison from the Wonder Woman movie, Captain Cold from the Flash movie that they were doing at that point. I don't know if Captain Cold is still going to be in the new version of the Flash movie. Then Orm and Black Manta from the Aquaman movie. But then you have the new Nightmare post-credit scene, and it's meant to be a flash forward to what actually winds up happening, so you see a slightly different version than what Cyborg's vision was. Where Lois Lane has still died, Superman still falls to Darkseid's influence, turns evil, and then a hodgepodge group of Justice League survivors and villains start working together. The person that they reference they're hiding from is evil Superman, not Darkseid, who does end up finding them a few minutes later anyway. But it's Batman, Mira, Cyborg, the Flash, who's wearing his time travel suit because he was actually going to time travel back into the past to warn Bruce in the sequels, Deathstroke, and Jared Leto's Joker. Batman says he's taking them to a place where Superman will never think to look. He's probably talking about the former Hall of Justice, Wayne Manor. Then Mira starts it up with Batman because she doesn't think that he cares about how Superman killed Aquaman and she wants revenge so bad. So they do reveal that this version of Superman did kill Aquaman. Then Joker pipes in, taunting Batman, explaining that he does understand what it's like to lose people he loves. He references his parents dying in Crime Alley. Then they really get into it when he references the dead Robin that he and Harley Quinn killed. Why did you send a boy to do a man's job? So he spends a good couple of minutes taunting Batman. And Zack Snyder did explain that he has plans to do a comic book with Jim Lee at some point where they actually tell the backstory of that dead Robin. But Zack Snyder's version of Robin isn't Jason Todd. It was actually meant to be Dick Grayson that died. Batman drops an F-bomb, telling Joker he's going to kill him for sure at some point. The second one in the movie, Cyborg had the first F-bomb when he first met Wonder Woman, so there are two in the movie. They form a truce when Joker gives him his playing card for the duration of their plan here to save the world using Flash's time travel. But Joker also explains the idea of the multiple timelines, saying that in all these other timelines, Batman hasn't had the guts to die himself. He keeps sending other people to do the dirty work for him. That was meant to set up Batman's eventual sacrifice in Justice League 3, where Batman is the one that winds up dying to save the rest of the Justice League in a sort of twist on Superman's sacrifice in Batman v Superman. So that's why they have that particular dialogue here. There's also some talk about reach-arounds. I don't know what's going on with that. But Batman also reveals that Harley Quinn died in his arms at some point in this nightmare future, this post-apocalyptic future, and begged him to kill Joker slowly. Then they all start talking about how they need to get moving, or evil Superman is going to find them. Boom, just as he does find them, he lands, you see his eyes start glowing red, and he's wearing the blue suit now. But just as they get ready to fight, Batman wakes up again as if he's having another nightmare. It's a very similar type of scene as when he woke up in the Batcave with the first nightmare scene back in Batman v Superman. But he wakes back up in present day after they've defeated Steppenwolf, where everything's still pretty chill, and Martian Manhunter shows up at his lake house to reveal himself and that he's going to fight with them in the sequels. So this is just paying off some of the earlier Martian Manhunter scenes from previously in the movie, and it sounds like based on the storyboard, Zack Snyder always planned on including a version of Martian Manhunter, but this particular post-credit scene is brand new for the Snyder Cut. Originally, it was going to be two Green Lanterns coming to visit Batman at his lake house. I believe it was supposed to be Kilowog and Tomar Ray, and they were going to set up the Justice League 2, Justice League 3 Green Lantern Corps storyline and the idea of the Hal Jordan character showing up eventually. And we did see a version of a dead Green Lantern in Cyborg's vision of the nightmare future. The full Green Lantern Corps would have rolled in by Justice League 3, but we were going to see more of them during Justice League 2. But basically, all of Justice League 2 would have been a nightmare movie. It would have all taken place in this post-apocalyptic future. So I'll talk more about that, the sequel ideas, and the other things he revealed about what was going to happen in the stories for Justice League 2, Justice League 3 when I do my full breakdown video later this weekend. That should post by Saturday or Sunday. If there's any other big Easter eggs or things that I didn't address from the ending of the movie that you want to talk about, just write them below in the comments. What'll happen next is my Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 1 video is going to post Friday morning. Those videos will post every Friday, just like my WandaVision videos. While you wait for everything, everyone click here for that nightmare vision of Darkseid going around killing all the members of the Justice League, and click here for my brand new Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 1 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.